Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So we know that our government in the past has lied to us on many occasions. 9/11. It took a lot of people a long time to figure out that 9/11 was a complete psyop. Maybe some people still believe in the narrative, unfortunately. And then there's the COVID, bioweapon attack that we had. Of course, it was a manufactured bioweapon that caused problems, bad case of the flu. But then they pushed the vaccination program, and there's still people that believe in that. Yes, there's still people getting vaccinated for COVID, right? So there's lots of different things that we've seen over time, and how many people during the COVID lockdown and you weren't supposed to go anywhere without a mask on, and people were driving around in the cars in masks and so by themselves. It really was a major psyop. And I remember, telling everybody it was coming. And I even went to a store and I put on a mask because I was like, they're gonna make us go to masks. And I went into a store with a mask. No one in the store was wearing a mask. I was videoing myself with a mask, and I got so much feed. I mean, people like hammered me. It's like, that's never going to happen. I'll never do that. Who do you think you are? You're so full of it, blah, 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 blah. Right. And of course that did happen. Right. And everybody fell in line with it to a great extent. Now, I know a lot of you have said that you didn't. So you're the rare ones. You know that. And so that brings me to, unfortunately, speaking about, which I think is very tragic, the moon landings, right? Us going to the moon and so forth. I remember as a little boy watching that, very little boy, and eating my cereal for the morning, and for hours I was just glued to that. And I watched all of the moon landings. One of the last ones, Apollo 16, where they're out there with the moon rover, right? Remember that? So many of us have seen those. Some people have thought that was all fake. It was all false, right? These astronauts were the best of the best. They were heroes, the best of the best in the Air Force, and some in the Navy, best pilots, the best of the best. Out of thousands that wanted to go on the program, just a few made it. So when I posted yesterday, I talked about the Artemis 2. I talked about it on a show with a couple guys, truthers, and they were laughing. They thought that it was all fake. And I was like, wow. And then I've seen other truthers out there that just don't want to believe that we ever went to the moon, and they don't even talk about it. And I'm like, wow. It sounds like we have been disinfoed, psyoped once again. Now, there obviously is infiltration in all things, right? Where they come in and they disinfo and they spread false information. Now, why would they do that to the Apollo program? How many of you believe in ETs? And probably all of you do. There's probably a few out there that don't. But at this point, I think pretty much everyone believes in extraterrestrials, right? How did they get here? Right? How did they get here? Through spacecraft, or did they just come through wormholes? Or, how do you think that these extraterrestrials got here? So there's a new program, a new documentary on Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar, back in 1989, revealed that he was working for a project where they were back engineering alien craft that they had gotten, right? And it was in the Area 51 is a S4. It's a separate area where they created basically where these craft could actually be flown from, right? And so he actually got to see one of the craft being flown. It disappeared, all kinds of crazy stuff. And So he was working on the all that. Now I'm going to bring up some clips on that. So how do you think these ETs got here? You don't believe that rockets like go into space, right? You think all of that was a big production. Now, of course, there has been like a Stanley Kubrick something where you can tell that it was fake or something. Now, was that created to in case there was some kind of crash or something? They could keep rolling some stuff, or was it used for training for the astronauts as they started to train for the moon landings and so forth? That's a possibility. I don't know, but when that came out, I was like, well, whatever it is, it's like that we still went to the moon. That's obvious to me. Now we know also that after they shut down the Apollo program, they said because it was not cost effective, right? So that dashed a lot of our hopes that we would, live the life of the Jetsons at some point, right? So life goes on, and that program was shelved, and then they came out with a Challenger program, and then one of the Challengers blew up. And all those, people that were on the Challenger, obviously, we assumed died. I remember I was eating lunch. I was on a military base in San Diego. I was going through some kind of training, and we took a break. I went into the cafeteria and got some food. Sitting there watching as the Challenger, got blasted off, and then it blew up. And everybody was like stunned. But now we're seeing that all of those people that were on the Challenger are showing up alive. Right? So this is part of the disinformation, stuff that they do. The Challenger itself, was there anybody on board? Probably not. And why would they blow up the Challenger? Because they wanted to stop the space program. So they stopped the Apollo program, saying it was like not cost effective, the Vietnam War, blah, 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 blah. And people were like, well, there's people starving in Africa. I don't know how old my audience is, but do you remember, like, did your parents used to tell you you need to eat all your food because there's children starving in Africa? So all of the silliness, right? So, and, hiding under your desk. I remember hiding under my desk if there was a nuclear explosion. As a 1 and 2 year first and second grade. I remember we used to practice to get under our desks in case there was a nuclear explosion. So yeah, we look back, and there's a lot of things about our government that were pretty effed up, right? Now, I don't believe the Apollo programs were completely sure. There's, like, I've been in the CIA, I've been in the military. I know there's other programs that work independently, and they're corrupt, right? And you guys know that I've been talking about this for years now. It's very hazardous to do that. And you look at all the people that have talked out about secret space programs and so forth, a lot of those people get killed, right? It's a very dangerous thing to do, to speak out. So I'm going to show you guys Apollo 16, one of the Apollo 16 astronauts that basically, he was told to basically, not talk, right? To just move along. And maybe he had to sign some non-disclosure agreements, who knows? But he's speaking out now because he saw just recently, I think it was 2018 or 2019, something like that. And I'm going to show you a little clip from him where he was speaking out about the when he was on the moon, and he's one of the ones that was cruising around in the little hot rod on the moon. I thought that was so cool. I was like, someday I want to do that. And they saw something, and there were lights and there were sounds and all kind of anomalies that were happening, and they saw a ancient wall on the moon. And when they got closer to it, all the anomalous lights and sounds that they were hearing got louder. All right. So in the last Apollo 17, when they went around the dark side of the moon, they saw a flash of light in one of the craters, and they reported that. And there was a couple times where they crashed vehicles into like used space equipment or whatever. They crashed into the moon, and the moon reverberated as if it was hollow, which I believe it is. And there's the outer part is just a shell to protect what's inside. So it's a satellite. It was pulled there, put there to help the Earth stabilize during traumatic periods. So if if you did the same thing on Earth, the resonance, the vibrational frequencies and so forth would be gone in seconds or minutes or less, not minutes, but seconds. On the moon, it lasted for like, a long time, like a minute or so. So they came back with an even bigger one. The first one, I think, was like 4,000, equivalent 4,000 tons of TNT or something like that, 4,000 pounds probably. And then they came back with another one, and it was even more, like 11,000, I believe it was. And they crashed it in, and the sound resonated for like 3.5 minutes, right? So that's not normal, right? So, and there's a lot of anomalies that they noticed on the moon. Now, going around the backside on Apollo 17, which was the last one, Apollo 16 and 17 were in the same year, 1972. And then they saw anomalous lights that seemed to come from inside the moon. So what happened with Artemis 2? They saw those anomalous lights. Now they're supposed to. Now I said we will know if this was a real space shot, the first of its kind since 1972. All right. So that's a very long time. And when I first heard about it, I'm skeptical like everybody at this point about anything that comes from our government. But I said that if we see photos and video from the dark side of the moon, which they never shared with us really, I will be convinced that this was a legit flight, right? So everything seemed legit to me. And I guess in the next day or two, they're going to release those photos and videos. Now, why do you think they're keeping them? Maybe because they want to make sure they're not revealing something that's a little bit not ready to be revealed, right? They're still controlling information. And that's a possibility because there are still people that are in positions that could, cause problems, right? So I think that President Trump is basically blowing this open, this squashing of the space program that was, probably going to, give us incredible abilities. We probably would have moon bases. Now, the next flight that goes out is they're going to start to create a moon base, right? So, now when I showed the splashdown yesterday live, and then did my regular thing where I talk about what's going on and my views of what's going on in the world, I looked at the responses, and it seemed like over half of the people that responded were like, I can't believe you still believe this is real. I'm like, what? And a lot of them were very nasty. And so the ones that do personal attacks, I delete, and restrict from ever coming back and making the comment. But you can make your comments. The comments are there. You guys can go and preview them if you want. I didn't see anybody saying, yeah, I believe it. I don't think one person spoke up saying they believe it. Right. So it's sad, I think, because I think it's a PSYOP. The Stanley Kubrick thing was probably the first thing. And when I saw it, I was like, whatever. No one's really everybody still believes in the moon landing. And so I've seen now that is not the case. It seems like there's been another PSYOP on us, guys. And I want to help everybody just be a little bit more critical thinking and go back and look at some of this stuff and be open-minded, right? Be open-minded, because how many people got vaccinated At this point, I think pretty much everybody, not everybody, but a good majority of people that got vaccinated now regret it. Unfortunately, a lot of those people that did get vaccinated are gone. And I've heard from thousands of you over the last several years, because I speak about this a lot, because it needs to be spoken of, because it's another PSYOP that people fell for. And thousands of people speak of family members and friends and so forth that are dead from the shot, right? So we need to be aware that there's PSYOPs going on all the time. Now, a lot of you are like, why don't we have free energy? Well, maybe one of the reasons why is because you fell for the, PSYOP on the space program, right? So we can't go there because that's part of that. And so you're going to see this. Now, I would highly recommend you watch, I think we watched it on Amazon Prime. You have to buy it. I would say buy it. You can rent it, but I mean, it's only a couple more bucks to buy it. But that's for the Bob Lazar story. So he's been speaking out, and one of the reasons why he's still alive, like me, is because he speaks out, right? And he's constantly speaking out about this. Now, sadly, many of you are going to be like very angry that I'm going down this road because you feel the way you feel. Just like, I don't know, maybe you felt the same way about COVID. I don't know, guys. So anyway, I firmly believe this is a PSYOP. So Apollo 17 was the last crewed mission to the moon, occurring from December 7th to December 19th, 1972. The mission marked the 6th and final time humans set foot on the lunar surface. Right. So we haven't been back on the lunar surface since. All right. So now, thanks to President Trump with Artemis 2 and next Artemis 3, we're going to start to see a moon base finally being built. Something that was talked about back when I was a kid, right? And now it's finally going to happen. Now, what was going on that kept it from happening? Why did they stop the moon program? What happened, right? So they were trying to control information, and who knows why, but maybe because they were back engineering all the stuff that they had gotten from ET groups and so forth, and they were just going to shut everything down because people were going to because people were asking questions. All right, so this is Apollo astronaut Charles Duke. Now watch this, guys. This is a legitimate hero. Right? He's not bullshitting. And none of these astronauts, maybe a few, we had a fire in one of the Apollo modules. They were training and a fire broke out at it. And I've heard stories where one of those pilots that was in there was, on to something. Was it, the alien stuff that was coming out, or what was he questioning? But he was questioning. And so unfortunately, the two other astronauts that were in there, they were targeting him. They burnt him alive, and they burnt the other astronauts alive too. So, I mean, maybe that was a signal to all the other astronauts, don't get out of line and ask questions or speak out. I don't know. But this guy's, in his 80s, late 80s now, 89, I think, and he's speaking out.
I'm on the moon, and the excitement, the wonder, the thrill, the adventure of it all, and as Buzz Aldrin described it, it was this magnificent desolation.
6 kilometers from the lunar module, on a ridge where Earth had disappeared from the sky, Apollo 16 astronaut Charles Duke stopped the rover and stared at something that should not exist. A 100-meter wall, angular blocks, built on a world where nothing has ever been built. He reported it to Houston in plain, precise language. Houston went silent for 30 seconds, then told him to move on. The photographs Duke took that day have never been released. At 89 years old, he's finally explaining why we never went back. The man Houston trusted, Charles Duke was the voice of Apollo 11, the Capcom who relayed the call when Armstrong and Aldrin touched down. Contact.
Now I'm going to speed this up so we can get through more of this. This is a lot of information. I want you to get a good piece of it, and then I'm going to move it up a little bit into the program.
Contact light, engine stop, tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed. His response went out to the whole world. Steady, cool, dry. The voice of a man who processed danger the way others process weather. He joined NASA in 1966, selected from thousands of candidates. United States Air Force test pilot. He flew some of the most advanced jets in the military inventory before he ever sat in a spacecraft.
I was a fighter pilot, Air Force. Went to MIT, got a master's degree. MIT, they had the contract to build the Apollo guidance and navigation system, and I was working on that system.
Precision was his language. Facts were his religion. He wasn't a man who exaggerated. He wasn't a man who imagined things. The program selected people like Duke precisely because they could be trusted to report what was real. 3 years after Apollo 11, he got his own mission. Apollo 16, April 1972. Duke and Commander John Young descended to the Descartes Highlands on April 21st and stayed 71 hours, longer than almost any crew before them. They drove the lunar rover for miles across terrain no human eyes had ever seen, collected samples from craters and ridgelines, ran every experiment on the checklist. NASA called it one of the most successful missions ever flown. Every objective met, every box checked. Duke came home with hundreds of pounds of lunar samples, hundreds of photographs, and a mission debrief so thorough and unremarkable that it generated almost no controversy. That's the official version. What the footage shows. Go back and watch the unedited mission recordings, not the highlight reels, the full uncut footage. And something is wrong. There are moments where Duke freezes mid-step, completely still. He stops and stares at something outside the camera's frame, something the lens never captures. Young's voice crackles through the radio. Charlie, you okay? Duke, barely audible. Fine. Just looking. His voice sounds distracted, like a man processing something his training never covered. The transcripts don't say what he was looking at. The post-mission reports don't mention it. Duke didn't talk about it for 4 decades. When he began speaking publicly around 2015, he described things that don't belong in any official record. Sunlight on the moon should be pure white. No atmosphere means no scattering. That's basic physics. But Duke saw colors that had no business being there. Blues, purples, not reflections off equipment or his visor.
Bend back like this and hold on to the car and look up.
All right, so there's obviously, like they're speaking here, there's anomalies that they're not telling us, about the moon. Now, in Mars, they've sent another rover type, of course, remote control, and they had a helicopter that was flying around in Mars. Now, they've told us for years that there is no atmosphere on Mars. Yet how could a helicopter fly without atmosphere? So yes, there are anomalies. They feed us disinformation. They feed us half-truths. This is something that's ongoing. There's reasons for it. Who knows what the reasons are for and for who? So these are the things we have to find out. But to completely, you find one lie and you just throw out the baby with the bathwater. Right? You found a little fly in the baby's bathwater, so you throw the baby out with it. Right? So this is what we're doing, and this is their plan. This was their plan, I believe, to have so many of you completely throw out this Apollo incredible, part of our history. And President Trump is trying to bring it back, and you guys have just gone full retard mode on this stuff. Right?
There it was. It was beautiful. Half Earth. We were half moon, and blue and white. It's just, there it is. And the rest of the sky was just black.
The light itself shifted. He'd look away and look back, and it would be different, changing on a world where nothing is supposed to change. He heard sounds, not through the radio, not mechanical vibrations from the suit. Tones, frequencies, sometimes harmonic and almost musical, sometimes dissonant and deeply unsettling. He asked Young if he could hear it. Young said yes. 2 of the most rigorously trained test pilots in human history, both experiencing something that violates the laws of physics. Close-ups of the blocks, wide shots, showing the structure against the horizon, context photos from every angle they can manage before Houston repeats the order. Duke has said those images were crystal clear. He pressed the shutter himself. Those photographs have never been released, not a single one. Duke has asked NASA about them for decades. The answers keep changing, classified for technical reasons, lost during archival transfer, image quality too degraded for public release. Each answer is different. None of them hold up. Duke has described his reaction as barely contained fury. Not the frustration of a man who lost something, but the fury of a man who knows exactly what happened to it and can't prove it. He was there. He held that camera in his own gloved hands. He pressed the shutter. The images were sharp. He said that specifically, crystal clear, nothing wrong with the exposures. And he says with absolute certainty, those photographs are sitting in a vault somewhere, cataloged, accessible to someone, buried under 50 years of institutional silence that has never once been officially explained. Deep time. The structures themselves aren't even the most disturbing detail. It's their age. When Duke was asked in a 2019 interview whether the structures looked recent, he shook his head slowly. He described them as eroded, worn down in ways that shouldn't be possible on an airless world. No wind, no rain, no weather of any kind. But they bore the unmistakable marks of deep time, covered in micrometeorite impact craters that only accumulate over millions of years of constant bombardment from space, possibly hundreds of millions of years. They predated anything humans have ever built. They predated humans entirely. Sit with that for a moment. The oldest human structures on Earth, Göbekli Tepe, the megalithic temples of Malta, are at most 12,000 years old. What Duke was describing makes those seem like they were built yesterday. Whatever intelligence constructed those walls, whatever hands or tools shaped those blocks, they did it when our ancestors were still hundreds of millions of years from existing. They built on the moon, watched it slowly bury their work under regolith and micrometeorite rain, and were gone, all of it, before the first single-celled organism crawled out of Earth's oceans.
All right. So there's obviously some things they're trying to hide. But again, we can't just completely blow this off, guys. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. You look at things observationally. You take the parts that is, demonstrably true. And then you take the things that are, obviously fiction or disinformation, and you start to analyze why would they do this disinformation? Why would they spread these different types of negative things? Now, what is the future? So we've gone through a period of over 50 years where they've 47, however 50 something years, however long it's been, 47 I think, before we have gone back to the moon. So this Artemis trip was the first one since 1972. So that's crazy. What was the reasoning for that? And why would President Trump in his first term, start to plan Artemis 1? Remember, President Trump started the space force, right? So how does this all tie together? What is actually going on? And is there something else that we need to start to pay attention to? All right. So let's listen to what they have planned for Artemis, and then listen to these astronauts. And we have these astronauts. They spoke today. I was listening to them speak today, and I was like, these are not actors. All right. They're not. They're speaking from the heart, and you can. It's like, God, start to be observant, stop being so negative. And, you're just going to, just like COVID and 9/11 and all these other PSYOPs that they've done on us. A lot of people are falling for just discounting the space program, which President Trump is starting to reactivate after all of this suppression and the disinformation that went in to pull people away from, believing that it even happened. It's like, wow, it's like crazy. So I've heard a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of stuff out there where people are talking. So you can go down whatever rabbit hole you want. Now, I see disinformation all the time, and I see through it, and I try and help you guys see through it. But a lot of people, if they don't have somebody to tell them and show them that you're looking at disinformation, they don't have a clue, and they just go crazy, and they go down the rabbit holes, right? The negative rabbit holes being created for them. All right, so listen to what's coming.
As we stand here this evening, the mobile launcher is preparing to go back to the VAB. Artemis 3 will start being assembled, and the next crew will begin preparing to play their part. As we return to the lunar surface, we build the base, and we never give up the moon again.
This was not easy. Being 200,000 plus miles away from home, like before you launch, it feels like it's the greatest dream on earth. And when you're out there, you just want to get back to your families and your friends. It's a special thing to be a human, and it's a special thing to be on planet Earth. Thank you. The only person who can follow that up is Victor Glover, so let's go.
And now we're ready for questions. I'm gonna keep it brief because I'm afraid to start talking. I have not processed what we just did, and I'm afraid to start even trying. When this started on April 3rd, I wanted to thank God in public. And I want to thank God again, because even bigger than my challenge trying to describe what we went through, the gratitude of seeing what we saw, doing what we did, and being with who I was with, it's too big to just be in one body. And I wanted to thank our families for everything that he just said. So great words, great words, great words. I love you, but not just those 5 beautiful cocoa skin ladies right there. All of you. And I wanted to thank our leadership. And it's changed since we were here in April of 2023, but the qualities haven't. And we are fortunate to be in this agency at this time together. And so I'm going to sit down. Thank you also to our air operations
this agency
for this facility and for our ride home from San Diego.
So,
and
what does he mean by that?
I love you. Thank you.
In this agency at this time. So there's little clues that are being left for us. It's compromised. The agency was compromised, and now it's been turned around, is my opinion, right? So we're going to see definitely the good side of humanity, the good side of our, things that have been created. CIA. Now the CIA, we all know there's a negative side of the CIA. I can tell you there is, and maybe was, I don't know, but. With that pilot that was missing, President Trump said, and we're looking 40 miles away, like on a straight line from another hill somewhere, or 40 miles away in space, right? 40 miles away in space, the CIA was looking what they thought was the pilot, and then the pilot moved, and then they knew 40 miles away. So the CIA has a good side. I can tell you, I was involved in it, but I could see negative things that were going on around me, right? And same with those astronauts. Those astronauts, were involved in something that was the old, back in the early Apollo days, and then the last Apollo flights and so forth. So what we're seeing now is a movement away from the control, the negativity, and so forth across all things, right? And the space program being one of those. All right, so we all know that the CIA started Operation Mockingbird. So who would be the one controlling the information, and why would they be controlling and shutting down programs and controlling information and doing disinformation? CIA, right? because CIA had programs back in the day, the U2 program, which was started where? Area 51, right? And other programs. And, you know, the SEAL Team 6 guys that went in and got Osama bin Laden, they went to Area 51 and got on a Black Hawk that had been designed at Area 51, just like the stealth fighter. I think it was like the 117 stealth fighter. So they built a stealth fighter helicopter, a Black Hawk, right? And SEAL Team 6, if you trust the movie, right? So I don't know. I didn't talk to those guys. There's certain things that once you leave a certain program or a group, you don't have access to any of that information. Now you may meet some of those guys, and they may share peripheral information, but they don't give you deeper insights, right? That's the way top secret programs and compartmentalized top secret programs are like, with special background investigations, and so you can have access to these compartmentalized programs. Some of which, I was involved in, me and only a handful of people that I know of anyway. And I will never probably get to talk about them. I don't know. We'll see. But Operation Mockingbird, as I'm going to show you here, was started, and the CIA is actually admitted to Operation Mockingbird. So they have information that's out there. Operation Mockingbird was a secret campaign by the United States Central Intelligence Agency, and this has been given away by Freedom Information Act to influence media. Begun in the 1950s, it was initially organized by Cord Meyer and Alan Dulles, and was later led by Frank Wisner after Dulles became the head of the CIA. The organization recruited leading American journalists into a network. Are we seeing still that program? Of course we are. Yes, Bob. To help present the CIA's views, not our views, but the views that the CIA wanted us to have, and funded some student and cultural organizations and magazines as fronts. As it developed, it also worked to influence foreign media, and I can tell you that I saw a lot of that when I was overseas in the CIA, and political campaigns, and I saw that as well, in addition to activities by other operating units of the CIA. So this is open source knowledge, right? It's not something, and most of us know this at this point. Sometimes I forget the code name of operations, like something about the media, and there's people like come in the chat like Mockingbird. So most of us know about Operation Mockingbird, but do you know when you're being part of an operation within this Mockingbird CIA controlled environment that we're in? How many of you know? How many of you knew that COVID was? How many of you knew that they were disinfoing 9/11? George Bush. You're either with us or you're against us, right? So it's more and more of this until we wake up, which is what President Trump is trying to help us do, right? And he can't come right out and tell you like I can. But there's he's coded a lot of his information that he drops. We've seen, Tucker Carlson now obviously part of the Mockingbird media. Now, many of us have known for a long time that many people that are in the supposedly MAGA movement, Alex Jones, we've been pointing them out for a long time. Right. So now they've gone full retard, as I call it. They're completely exposing themselves. And, Marjorie Taylor Greene, I was calling her out years ago, right? Years ago. And people were still following her. I was like, you can follow her if you want. But so she's gone, full retard now. And there's many more. probably more to come. Probably more to come. And then I hear people trying to justify them and saying Trump was like out of line for, lashing back at them. He's an expert at that, destroying people that have finally exposed themselves. And he's done that exceptionally well over time. All right. So Area 51 and the accidental test flight. This is from the CIA itself, right? So they start to talk about or have started to allow through Freedom of Information, Central Intelligence Agency. You can actually go there and get information now, guys. They're open. Today's CIA, leadership organization. So the careers, you want to go in the CIA? Yeah. Legacy, their museum, headquarters. I've been in the museum. It's pretty amazing. I've been to headquarters dozens of times when I was, doing security for the CIA. All right. So on August 1st, 1955, during a high-speed taxi test in the first U-2, Lockheed's chief test pilot, Tony LeVere, inadvertently became airborne at a remote test site in the desert of western Nevada called the Nevada Test and Training Range at Groom Lake. You may know it as Area 51, right? So he accelerated. He was just doing a test flight, not a test flight, but a test run on the, on the lake, Groom Lake. And it was supposed to be just, for, staying on the ground. And whoop, unbeknownst to him, he lifted off. And then he had some problems. It says he was unable to land the U-2 on his first attempt, and it bounced back into the air. But he managed to successfully bring it down on a second try. Damage to the prototype U-2 was very minor. This test would later be considered the first unofficial flight of the U-2. A year later, they're flying the U-2 over Russia, right? So the CIA has always been about gathering intelligence, right? Gathering intelligence and controlling information, right? And that's why the CIA has incredible satellites now. I can tell you that when I was still working for the CIA over 10 years ago, the satellites they have are unbelievable. And that was over 10 years ago. So now they can look from 40 miles away and see a pilot on a mountainside in a crevice moving around. So very, very high tech. All right. So where do they get this high tech stuff? Where did the high tech stuff come from? All right. So let's start to go down the rabbit hole. Many of you believe in ETs, but you don't believe that we have been to space in rocket ships and that we just did it again. Right? How did that happen? Operation Mockingbird, right? So and this gentleman, risked his life to open up the alien aircraft and the ET involvement. So he's lucky to be alive, but because we wanted to watch him and listen to him and find out, this is, I believe, is what helped keep him alive. Although there have been many people that have revealed, dozens and dozens of them that I know of are dead, right?
This was a small reactor about the size of a hemisphere, about the size of a basketball on a metal plate. And when it was running, it produced a gravitational field of its own. Now, this is something that we can't do. We can't produce any gravity. The only way we get gravity is from large quantities of mass. But there's no machine we can have that turns on that makes gravity. You can turn on an electromagnet and it makes a magnetic field. We can't make a gravitational field. Anyway, this device was producing that. And Barry said, almost like he was bragging, go ahead, try and touch the sphere. And I couldn't. It pushed my hands away, just like two like poles of a magnet. So that was
so like when you take two magnets and try to press them together and
you
push
have
against
that
each other.
Yeah, kind of cushion feeling, but you can't get them together closer you put them, the more they push. But
And you felt that physically
with my hand. Yeah. Now there's nothing that does that, and that immediately caught my attention. This was a small reaction.
All right. So, you guys, I highly recommend you watch S4, the Bob Lazar story, and start to believe again. All right. Because some of you have lost your way. But those of you that didn't, you're going to get more information from this movie. It's on Amazon. That's where I bought it. I would recommend buying it. Area 51's most controversial insider shows you exactly what I saw. With Trump promising to release the UFO files, fans of all things alien will no doubt be curious to watch S4, the Bob Lazar story. The 1 hour and 54-minute documentary takes a closer look at the mild-mannered scientist who dragged Area 51 out of the shadows in the 1990s and claims to have been inside an alien spacecraft housed there. All right. Truly an amazing movie or documentary, pretty much a movie. And they on Joe Rogan, that little clip that you saw, there's a long version. I think it's like over 2 hours. And when Bob Lazar first came on to Joe Rogan's show, it's one of the most watched shows in Joe Rogan's history. All right. So many people are very, very interested in this information, but they don't trust our government. I understand. But our government at one time, remember who said they were going to put us on the moon? That was JFK. What did they do to JFK? And they did the same thing to our space program, guys. They destroyed it. All right. So please, we need to bring it back. All right. Don't be negative. Be at least open-minded. So many negative people out there. It's like tragic to me. It's like, God, what happened to you guys? All right, so let's look at some more.
There's a much better chance that he would not be sent to prison. He didn't. He stuck to his story. He told them the same story that he told.
All right, looks like it lost the visual. So let me try and reload it. Where am I at? 45:21. If in case it doesn't go back there.
Truly was a UFO con man.
Well, what's going on with that? So, see, maybe they're still trying to do disinformation and shut this stuff down. Oh, well, there was a nice little piece I was going to show you there. So you'll have to watch the movie. So now, and so that basically was going to show you the little, there's like this box and they had 3 of them and they cut one of them out. Now they showed where they were trying to like cut on another one and it was almost like a nuclear blast went off. It was a good thing it was like deep underground. So somehow they knew that they could cut this one off. So they cut it off. And that's the one where he was talking about he couldn't push his hands because it basically was creating a field. So some kind of anti-gravity type stuff that goes on in these craft. So it's been replicated, and there's people that have been saying that 98% of the UFOs that we see are our stuff, right? And the 2% is not so much. So there's there's so much information out there about ET craft now, and so many people have, basically given their lives, literally, so that that we could get the information about this technology, even though someone in the CIA or some group in the CIA, and probably some group much higher, maybe a negative ET race, is probably trying to restrict us from getting to the point where we could reach a level where they can no longer control us. And I think we've already reached that. And I think that's what President Trump is trying to do. Let us know that we have reached a point where we're on equal, maybe even better footing than they are. And that's how we could fly that craft all the way around the moon and back and it not go bye-bye, right? So let's look at, for those of you that resist, there could be, ways that we could help you wake up. Bitch slapped. All right. So I don't know if it would help wake you up. But some of the comments I saw, you could go, we'll do the bitch slap and then we'll go to the guy slap and we'll show. In a way, I, was watching the last Apollo shot back at Apollo 17, 1972. They just kind of like disappeared and just went away. And then now I've woken up and everybody's gone crazy. And there's this slapping thing that's going on. I'm like, what the hell happened to everybody? So this would be my slap to those of you that still think the Apollo is bullshit. Right. So, you got to be open-minded, guys. You got to start to look at everything, the disinformation, start to recognize the disinformation instantly. All right. The earlier that you can see the disinformation, the better, because I saw the disinformation years ago and I was like, and now I regret that. I should have started speaking out about it. Obviously a lot sooner. Some of you guys have gone full retard and you need a good slap to knock you out. And maybe when you wake up, you'll wake up with a little bit more knowledge. I don't know. Maybe while you go sleepy, you'll get some dreams that Mike is right. Right. And, you can believe whatever you want to believe. That's free will. But, I know a lot of people believe in stupid, and it's tragic. It's tragic to see. So, anyway, so let's look at a little bit more of the Joe Rogan, Bob Lazar, and Luigi Vendetelli that basically put together this S4 Bob Lazar story. So really good information. Again, I haven't watched all of this, but I'm going to go back and watch it because it's fantastic.
Seeing the recreation of it in a film, because essentially it was your direction, for lack of a better word, your description of it, you telling them exactly how everything was laid out, and then once they recreated it, what is that feeling like when you watch it?
Well, the final product is absolutely mind-blowing because, as I've said to Luigi, it looks like you guys downloaded that out of my brain. You can describe something 100 times, and until you actually make a picture, it doesn't become clear. But, this took years. I think it was like 5.5 years from when I first met Luigi, and he said, yeah, I can do this. And the quality kept improving to where he started showing me pictures, and I went, Jesus, that's really it. It's not really it. It's really it. And
so I watched the movie and I was like, good God, it's so realistic. So they talk about how they did that realism, and it's pretty impressive. So you get a real good feel of what he was actually encountering, and it's pretty substantial. It's something that we need to be open-minded about and start to look deeper at. And by doing that, we can release that so that we can have access to it. But if we get dumbed down, we get, pretty much mind controlled and disinformation and all this stuff. We're not going to see this stuff, right? You got to wake up, guys. You got to wake up and you got to support it. We, the people, will bring this back, but not if you're going to. Half the population is saying it's all bullshit, and then finding reasons why to say it's bullshit, and then having people come in and say, this is why it's bullshit. And I've seen those. I was listening to some today, and I was like, right from the get-go, I'm like, you're a disinformationalist, right? You're probably working for the CIA, aren't you? Or a portion of the CIA, or some program that is still focused on creating, a negative about our space program and the potential that we could possibly have for advancing it to a much, much faster and greater level, right? So this is what I believe is coming. Gullible is a new disease. So Artemis 2 crew sheds light on the dark side of the moon. All right, so let's look at what they say here. The photos taken during a 7-hour lunar flyby on 6 April were transmitted back to the Earth this week, marking a major milestone in humanity's return to the moon's vicinity. The crew, made up of Reed and Victor and Christina and Jeremy, used an array of onboard cameras to capture thousands of images, with more expected to be released in the coming days as the spacecraft makes its way back to Earth. Right, so it's back in Earth now, so should be seeing a lot of this video and pictures. I've shown some of them on other shows already. They're spectacular, right? And of course, the naysayers and the people that are still consciously compromised are going to say, oh, it's all bullshit. It's all CGI, right? Yeah, maybe, whatever. During the flyby, the crew documented key geological features, including impact craters, ancient lava plains, and surface fractures. They also recorded variations in color, brightness, and texture across the lunar surface, alongside observations of Earth rising and setting beyond the moon's horizon. All right, so my challenge to you, if you choose to take it, is to actually do the research and look at it. Get your childlike, wonder back, right? It's been compromised for a lot of us, of course, unfortunately, and that's by design. But get that childlike wonder back and start to look at some of this stuff and use critical thinking and be careful with. I don't even care about the people that are talking shit about it, right? It is what it is, and you can go down that realm like Satan T minus equals NASA, right? You can go down the negative, little widget, compartmentalized mind control stuff if you want. And I won't say that NASA doesn't have, has been manipulated. Yeah, of course. Like I said, everything has. But again, because you see something that is not right or obviously manufactured, you're going to throw it all out. It's dumb, right? It's dumb, right? So anyway, many of you are going to do and go in the direction that you want to go. Now, we may have, I think we're lining him up, this incredible gentleman, Trump ally Peter Tickton. So he's pushing an executive order midterm proposal, raises legal and political concerns. So, of course, they're trying to destroy Peter Tickton. And, there's probably people that are, going with that narrative. There always are. Kind of like the Apollo stuff is the moon landings is all false and negative. It's not real, right? So they're trying to destroy Peter Tickton. And Peter Tickton obviously goes all the way back to high school with President Trump. And here I'm going to show you a picture of Peter Tickton back in the day. He's 90 years old now. President Trump is 89. But he's trying to help President Trump. He wants to be, I guess he's throwing his hat in the ring to be the attorney general so that he can help Trump, pass stuff and get stuff done about the election. So here he is right there. There's President Trump. Look at President Trump, all those medals. So I guess he was the leader of his company or whatever, and maybe the whole battalion or the whole kit caboodle. I don't know. But Peter Tickton was his second. So it's pretty cool. So that's it's interesting. If Peter Tickton were to actually become, I believe, the attorney general, then a lot of the stuff the President Trump is trying to get through would actually get through. And is this just more disinformation, that President Trump is a master of, and is he even running? Is there, I don't know. So President Trump said that, that the guy that, replacing Bondi, is like, legit. He said that. And it's like, he says that all the time while he's allowing them to expose themselves as being bad. Right. So he's not going to go, don't go with the moon landing stuff. It's all false. He's not in that. He's like, are you serious? You don't believe in that stuff? He's like me, so there is, so who do you want to believe? A lot of you guys are Trump supporters. He put this mission together. And so I know probably half or probably all the people that were like dissing me for like, look, Artemis 2 is landing in the water. How about that? While we're talking. And so the negative comments are like over the top. And I was like, okay. Okay. I got to talk about this, I guess. I'm pretty shocked. I thought there was maybe one or two people out there, but I'm seeing like whole groups of people like, wow, have been compromised. So you follow President Trump and you believe in President Trump, but you want to like diss Artemis 2, right? And he started this program, Artemis 1, back when he was, in office the first time. And that's when he started the Space Force. You discount all that, don't believe in any of that stuff too, right? So wakey. All right, so we have like I said, Ticklen. I think he's got a really good shot at possibly a good shot. I don't know. Nothing is as it should be, and nothing is as it seems. Evidently now. So Peter Ticklen, he talks about explaining how foreign nations are involved with U.S. elections. Ticklen said, the only reason Donald Trump is in office now is because the computer data center in Belgrade, Serbia was disabled by certain American actors in 2024. Certain American actors, would that be like Delta and SEAL Team 6? He then added, but they're never going to let that happen again. By they, he refers to the Chinese, the Democrats, and the World Economic Forum, who, according to him, are planning to win a Senate majority next year so that they could impeach Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. Ticklen then added that after Trump and Vance's impeachment, New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries would be serving as president. All right. Yes. Blow it off. Blow it off. All right. You disbelievers in the Apollo missions. All right. According to Ticklen, he first raised the issue of election integrity with Trump a year ago. Since then, he has drafted an outline executive order for the president to intervene in the midterms that mentions measures like banning mail ballots and voting machines. While a 17-page draft is now circulating among MAGA allies, Ticklen said he had not created the full version of the document. He named Jerome Corsi as the person who might have done that. Corsi is a conspiracy theorist and previously contributed to Alex Jones's InfoWars platform. So obviously this is a platform, MSN, that is, they'll give you a little piece of information, and then they'll cloud it with disinformation and subterfuge and lies and misstatements, and those that are weak-minded will follow them, like the Apollo negative stuff. All right. So anyway, 9/11, I figured it out before nightfall. So no captured soul here. Very good, Darren. Good job, man. All right. Darren's the man. Darren, are you Canadian? I think you're Canadian. Are you Canadian? I think I've seen your stuff in here before. All right. So yes, President DJT said, and if you're Canadian and you're speaking out like that, be careful. So you're not in good company up there with that administration that's in there. They're really, really bad. Yes, President DJT said many times central casting, because this is a movie. It's already happened, right? So yeah, and I haven't heard him say, you must be from Central Casting. And he just said that the other day. I forget who it was. I was like, even that guy? I was like, wow, okay. And when he says that, whoever he says it to, they go, ooh, dimed them out. Alex Jones, Tucker, and Candace are the Mockingbird media with CNN and MSNBC. Now, excellent, Deadpool. Yep. Absolutely. All right. So, all right. So I'm not going to beat anybody up for not believing in the space program anymore. So I've done that. All right. It's over. You guys believe what you want. It's fine with me. Iran's terror regime throws last-minute tantrum, demands release of billions in blocked assets and full ceasefire for Hezbollah in Lebanon before peace talks can proceed. Of course, they have been proceeding. And in fact, I guess J.D. Vance has been in peace talks with them. And it's gone a long time, a lot longer than everybody thought. So maybe they're coming to some agreements, or maybe there's some problems. I don't know. Who knows with Iran? Now, I know a lot of you think it's going to be very hard to defeat Iran. We have a president that's not like the others. Not like the others. I mean, we could go all the way back to Roman times. The Romans couldn't even defeat the Persians. But who did? Who did? Come on. Come on. Who knows their history? Who defeated the Persians? Come on. Let me see it. Let me see it. Who knows it? See, and you win a big prize if you get it. Come on. Who's got it? Who knows? And probably some. Iran is toast. Yes. All right. All right. Athenians, close. Spartans, close, kind of. Athenians and Spartans, yes. Peter the Great, no, that was way after. So, Christians, no, before them. Templars, no, way before them. So Alexander the Great, of course, Spartans and Athenians were with Alexander the Great. And Philip the Third, I think it was, his father built a great army with great generals, and Alexander the Great inherited that, and then went off and with all the Greeks and conquered everything. And then he was poisoned in Baghdad. Everybody's like, oh, he was tired. He was just so tired. It's like 34, something, 33, 34, 33 maybe. Probably have to look that up. That would be probably right. 33 seems to be the bad guy's number, because I'm absolutely sure that he was poisoned, right? Because he was going to go on and conquer the rest of the world. And who came along and did that? That would be Caesar, right? Not the salad dressing, but Caesar, Roman Caesar. He actually went with Cleopatra. Cleopatra showed him the tomb of Alexander the Great. And at that time, who knows what happened to that body? But at that time, it was preserved perfectly. and you could look in and see it, see Alexander the Great's body. And Caesar was like, "Oh, woe is me. He conquered the whole world, and I've done so little." But Caesar were going, of course, to conquer the other side of the world that Alexander the Great didn't. Could there be some kind of thing going on there? Or maybe Alexander the Great was like, I didn't. They took me out. I got to go back. So what happened to Caesar? They took him out too. God, Alexander the Great, or whoever that soul is that, inhabits those bodies. Must be tough to be him. All right. All right. So it's heard he was killing giants and Cain descendants. So, that's random, Patrick. I don't know what you're talking about there, but you're probably responding to somebody else in there. But sounds good to me, right? Yes, the CIA has made people jaded. Yes, jaded. That's good. That's a nice way to describe it. Yeah, very good. All right. So Eric Swalwell, he's swole. Remember Fang Fang? Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell was like on the Congressional Intelligence Board or something crazy, and he had Chinese girl that seduced him, and she was a spy. The spy that seduced me, right? That's Eric Swalwell, and that was found out, but nothing ever happened to him. It's like, what? Why? How is he still in office? He didn't know. He didn't know. So it's okay. He probably didn't tell her anything. But I don't know. Is she going to say that she did? Is she going to say that, yeah, he told me all these secrets? Probably did, right? Eric Swalwell's campaign for governor is collapsing. And this is interesting to me because when the Democrats or the mainstream media, they all say the same word. It's like, okay, this is coordinated, right? So they're all coming after him. So did he really fool around? And why are these women standing up now? It sounds like Trump stuff, right? So everybody's turning against him. They're all saying the same words about why he should step down. So CNN is like hammering him. CNN reported that 3 additional women had come forward. So one woman came forward and said in all kinds of crazy stuff. And so I'm not going to bring it up, but, sexual misconduct. And for the Democrats, that is the no-go, right? He crossed the line now. He crossed the line. So the Democrats going to come after you if you do the sexual thing. Now, they can do fraud and get billions and trillions of dollars. But if you go over the sexual line, which they all do, they've all been to Epstein Island. But if you come on to women and you do bad things, we're going to take you down, right? So Swalwell's campaign for California governor was dissolving in real time by Friday evening. The speed and totality of the political abandonment was remarkable. The collapse. Who did he piss off? All right. Did they say, you're going to do this? And he's like, F that. They're like, okay, we're going to destroy you. It must be said, because Democrats suddenly discovered moral backbone. Oh, they didn't. They're corrupt as hell. But because the math became impossible, within hours of the Chronicle's publication, his campaign chairman, Representative Jimmy Gomez of Los Angeles, resigned his role and called on Swalwell to exit the race. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who could be president in the future, Minority Whip Catherine Clark, and Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar issued a joint statement calling on Swalwell to immediately end his campaign. Immediately. even former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who is the most corrupt person that's ever been in Congress, a longtime Swalwell ally, who backed him up when Fang Fang, was seducing him to give away state secrets. She backed him up because they all give away information to the Chinese. So they backed him up for that one, but not now. Something happened. I wonder what it is. So Swalwell ally, who represents the very district where many of these events allegedly unfolded, called for an investigation and made clear. So called for an investigation. How about your money, the money that you have? Let's get an investigation on the hundreds of millions of dollars that you have when you only make $150,000 a year. So anyway, she's calling for an investigation and made clear his campaign could not continue. Senator Adam Schiff, who somehow became senator because California's corrupt and they put whoever they want into power so they can continue the corruption, of course, the fraud, withdrew his endorsement. Senator Adam Padilla called on Swalwell to step aside. Senator Ruben Gallego, a self-described close friend, withdrew his endorsement and said that what he had witnessed was indefensible. California Teachers Association, which had been among Swalwell's most prominent union backers, suspended its endorsement. The California Federation of Labor announced it was acting urgently to determine next steps. Senior campaign staffers, including top labor consultant, had already resigned before the story even published. What did they know? What did they know? Swalwell, for his part, issued the statement one would expect: the allegations are false. And of course, we can trust him. Ask Fang Fang. So, they're politically motivated. They come conveniently on the eve of an election. His attorney dispatched a cease and desist letter to the accuser warning of defamation suits if she did not retract her claims. For nearly 20 years, I have served the public as a prosecutor and a congressman and have always protected women, especially Fang Fang. This is the Swalwell brand in concentrated form. The invocation of service as a shield against scrutiny. The suggestion that the office of congressman is itself a character reference, and the immediate pivot to claiming victimhood at the hands of political enemies. All right. So is he done? or is he going to just continue to say, I did not have sex with that woman? Seems the Democrats get away with that. All right. Assimilate or get out. Get out. Florida's new message to foreigners. Adios. Sayonara. Some of you may not realize it, but the great state of Florida just became the first in the nation to axe the multilingual madness. In a recent move, Florida went full English only mode and on its driver's license exams. You can't read and write in English, you won't be driving in the state of Florida. It's about time. Right? So, all right. So we know, we remember the one immigrant that was driving the truck. He's from India, and I guess he wasn't, he didn't understand English. So he did the old Harjinder Singh, the truck driver involved in the August 12th, 2025 crash on Florida's Turnpike in St. Lucie County, faces 3 counts of vehicular homicide. Now, the problem is, because I've driven in Pakistan, which is very, very similar to India drivers, and in the rest of the Middle East, they don't drive normal. Very abnormal. is the way they drive. And once you understand that, and you start to look at who's going to do stupid, and then you adjust for it. Now here, unfortunately, in the United States, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, we're used to everyone, for the most part, driving the way you're supposed to drive. So when someone does something out of the normal, then people don't know how to respond. So I tell everybody, you see somebody pulled in front of you, you stop, right? And that's the way it is in the Middle East, right? You have donkey carts that are in the roads, you have that across the road, you have motorcycles in and out of the traffic constantly. It's like you know how you come up on somebody and you're getting ready to pass them. You got to be very careful, because you can see them in their mirrors, but they don't look at their mirrors. They don't look at their mirrors. If they don't see you, and for them, if they don't see you, you're not there. So they'll pull right into you. So you have to be aware of that and be ready to respond. Right? So if I don't see you, you don't exist. I don't need to look before I make a move. All right. And that's the way they are. You can go, well, that's not lawful. And then you won't have a car and you may not have your life. Right. So this is what happened, unfortunately. And I talk to these people that, have gone to the States, and they're like, what is it with Americans? If someone pulls in front of you or runs a stop sign, you stop. So I agree with that, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand. All right. So, you can listen to other people tell you things, and you can follow them as they make those illegal turns, and you just crash into stuff with them. Or you can, you can start to look and be observant and respond to the environment. All right. Or you can just do your own thing. All right. So who gave me $100? D Trumpet 777. Okay, you're giving me a lot of money, so thank you very much. So I love that. So thank you for the super chat, and I've seen those a few times, so I just want to reach out and say something. Actually, my wife just brought D Trumper. You are very welcome. Love you all. Very good. D Trumper, you're good. Thank you. All right. So do you believe Apollo or not? All right. Lots of love, guys. Stay in the love vibration. Stay observant. And somebody pulls out in front of you, stop. Right? If someone says that the Apollo missions were all false, think about it. All right. We'll see you guys next time.